I'm Becky, and in this video I'm going to show you how to use the super fun sketch carving toolpath that's new for version 12, where you can convert bitmaps and 3D models into super cool sketch carvings. Like this, I thought it'd be a really nice idea, rather than just use stock images of flowers, to really make it personable. And so this not only works for things like Mother's Day, but it could work for anniversaries, weddings, wherever you've got flowers, like the bouquet, or if you're gifting the flowers, rather than just give the gift of flowers, we can also kind of ingrain that memory of those flowers into our project. So we're going to take a few of these out, and we're going to look at how we can easily take a photo just using basic things that we've got available. And then what we're going to do is we're going to import those photos into our project and then create our design. What we're going to do is we're going to look for somewhere where we can take a good photo. We want a nice light background, we want good lighting. I'm thinking we take it kind of bird's eye view down. We could create a few compositions if we wanted. It's really simple. Okay, so we are using vcarve desktop. So we're going to start by creating a new file. And in here, we're just going to take our material. So I've just got this nice, I believe this is maple. Maybe someone else can tell me what it is, but I think it looks like maple. So we're going to go with a single-sided job, and I've measured this, so it's 13 inches long. And then in terms of the height, we're working with 6 inches. And then for the thickness, so we've measured the actual depth there, and we're going to set that to 0.74. So it's just shy of 3/4 of an inch. We're going to set our Z0 position on the top of our material. XY, we're going to put it to the lower left-hand corner, and then we'll go ahead and press OK. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at creating our initial layout for our dish or our tray. We're just going to look at using the Draw Oval tool. So we're going to come over into our 3D view, so we can actually draw in the 3D view now, which is super nice. And we're going to go into our Create Vectors tool. We're going to look at drawing an ellipse. I'm going to kind of snap that to the centre, and we're just going to draw that out, and I can see the handy fields there that are telling me the dimensions of our oval, and if I want to change them I can easily do that, in which case we're going to make that kind of 7.5 inches wide, and then if I hit tab, that's going to enable me to alter the height of that, in which case we're going to go with a 5.5 in there. We'll just press enter, and now we've got our first oval. And so that's going to be the outer portion of our tray, and so we're going to take that vector, and we're actually going to look at offsetting those vectors inwards. So we're going to go inwards, and we're just going to do that by 0.25, so 1/4 of an inch inwards. We're just going to offset that, so we've got a nice border, and then that offset vector is what we're going to use to pocket inside to create the kind of recessed inset for our tray. Okay, so we're going to now look at importing one of the photos that we took earlier of those flowers, and we're going to bring that into the software. So now in our when it comes to 2D data, so your vectors, your bitmaps, we've just got one single button where we can use that just to import any of those sorts of data, in which case we're going to take a look through our folder, and we're going to look at bringing in our flowers. So I like this one, so we'll just open that up and bring that into our job. And you'll see now that in the 3D view we can actually display our bitmaps as well, which is super handy, especially when you're trying to line things up to elements in your 3D view, whether that's a toolpath preview. If you're working with packages that have clip art, you can kind of see how they line up against those as well. Right then, so with that, we're just going to just do a little bit of rejig. So I'm just going to rotate it slightly, and then we'll just look at shrinking it down. So I kind of want to keep it kind of in the corner. So we've got a nice little trio there, and then we'll just rotate that again. And then what we're going to do is we're going to look at kind of cropping that bitmap out. So I don't want my arm in view, so I want to just kind of remove all of that. So we're just going to zoom in. And we're going to go over into our freehand drawing tool, and I'm just going to roughly trace around the flowers just to remove my arm. So we're just going to just decrease that bitmap there. Okay, and I've done something here, so let's just undo that. Perfect. Right then, so we're just going to roughly sketch around the flowers and just get all of the detail that I need. Okay, now when you are using the trace tool or the freehand drawing tool, just got to be just a bit gentle, follow the curvature of the things that you're tracing around. We don't need to be, dead close to the flowers. All we want to do is just get rid of that arm. We just want to follow the outer profile. And then when we get to the end, we're just going to hit that tab key on the keyboard, and then that's going to join all of that up. And we can come out of the freehand drawing tool, and then with that vector selected and the bitmap selected, we can then use the option to crop that bitmap, and that's just going to remove everything around the outside of that bitmap. Okay, so I've got everything that I need right there. Right then, so I'm just going to, again, just play around with the composition. So I just want to kind of move that over to the left a little bit. So we'll do that. So we'll just take that. We'll take the vector as well, just in case we need that again. So nudge it over to the left, and then I'm just going to do a little bit of a rotation again, just to kind of bring that in, and then maybe just nudge that up ever so slightly, and then rotate it around. And all of this is very, it's part of the design, it's how you like the look of it. Maybe you just nudge it over a little bit more. Okay, right, so I've got my flowers in view, that's looking pretty nice. So now we're going to look at bringing in some text. So we're going to go over to the text tool. Now for version 12, we've actually kind of united some of the text tools. So when you go into the draw text tool, you've got draw text, but you've also got the text in a box options. That's where that's gone. We've kind of unified that just to kind of save out on the buttons and then just keep it all in one place so it's nice and tidy. We're going to go with Dancing Script font. Okay, so that's the font that I'm using. And we're just going to type in, if mums were flowers, I'd pick you. So proper cheesy. But do you know what? All the mamas out there are going to love it. So we'll put that in there. So if mums were flowers, I'd pick you. That looks pretty nice, and then we can take that and then let's just move that around, and you'll see there that we were able to type that in the 3D view as well, which is super nice. And we can just nudge that into position, and then again, if we want to just edit the text, we just go back into the draw text. I might want to kind of move some of the lines up. So for example, let's put I'd pick you on one line. So bring that together, close out, and then let's just nudge that around. Something like that. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. So now I'm pretty much done with the design. So that's all it is. We've just got vectors representing the border, the actual tray itself. We've got some text, and we've got our bitmap. So now we're going to jump over to the toolpath side of things, where we're going to look at creating a pocket toolpath, a vcarve toolpath for the text, and then the all-important sketch carving toolpath for our flowers. Okay, so the first thing and the most important thing we need to do is just double check our material setup. So this is kind of your last call to ensure that what we're setting up in here is going to match our material and how we set it up over there. So we're going to go into the material setup form. So again, my thickness, I'm happy with the 0.74. XY datum, we're going with the lower left hand corner. Z0ing off the top surface of our material. And then you want to check over your rapid Z gaps above your material, so your clearance, your plunge, and your home and start positions, and ensure that everything is safe and appropriate for your particular machine, material you're using, and the tools that you're using as well. So I'm happy with that, so we'll go ahead and press OK. Right then, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at creating our recessed pocket. So we're going to take that internal vector and we're going to select that, and then we're going to go into the pocket toolpath. So I've got my tools selected, I've measured them out, I've kind of plugged them into my tool database to ensure that everything is set up correctly. So we're going to cut down just a small 0.3 of an inch into our material. So we'll set our start depth at 0, and then our cut depth is going to be 0.3. So we're going to use a 1/4 inch down cut bit. So we're using that, and just do that in an offset strategy. Give that a name, we'll just call it pocket, and then we'll go ahead and press calculate, and we can see the preview of that, and then we could go ahead and actually preview our toolpath, and we can see what that will look like. So you can see it's doing that in 1, 2, 3 passes, and that's going to have cut that out. So now we can then think about switching to our V-bit tool, where we're going to look at creating a V-carve for the text element, and then we're going to use the same V-bit to then create our sketch carving as well. So we're going to close out of the preview toolpaths, and we're going to go back, or we're not going to go back into it because we haven't been in it yet, but we're going to go into the vcarve toolpath. So we're going to go into our vcarve toolpath. Now, because we've already machined away some of the material, we need to reflect that in our toolpath as well. So we're going to need to tell the software we're actually starting at 0.3 because that's what we've already cut away. So we're going to put 0.3 for our start depth in here. We're going to go with a 60-degree 1/4 inch V-bit, and we're going to select the vectors there, and then we're just going to go ahead and press calculate, and we'll take a look at the effect of that. I can see what that looks like, and then we'll preview that. We can get a good look at that. That looks pretty nice, got a nice text in there. It's a really nice font. I actually really like that. Right then, so I'm happy with that, so we'll close out. Next thing, we need to go into the brand new sketchcarve toolpath. So what we need to do is we need to take our bitmap, and then we're going to go into this icon over here, which is the sketch carving toolpath. And we're going to click on that, and this will enable us to create a sketch carving either of a bitmap or a 3D model, in which case we are using a bitmap, that photo of the roses that we just took. So we're going to use the bitmap option here. And again, for our start depth, we need to set our start depth to be 0.3 because we've already machined away 0.3 of the material. And then we're going to go and select our tool, say 60-degree 1/4 inch V-bit, and then we need to specify our machining limit boundary. Okay, so you've got bitmap boundary, you've got selected vectors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that. I'm also going to take the vector that I used to crop the actual roses out. We're going to use that, and we're going to use the selected vector option, and it's going to machine inside of those vectors as its boundary. And then what we can do is we're just going to tile our windows so we can see both the 2D and the 3D view. And if we just zoom into the 2D view, you can see we've got all of this green highlighted area. And this is the software's kind of preview of what we're going to be sketching with our V-bit, okay? And we can reduce or increase the line thickness that we're actually using to trace that bitmap. And so if we increase it, you'll see the lines are thicker. If we decrease it, you'll see those lines get thinner. So I'm thinking something like that looks pretty good. So I'm happy with the preview as it stands, but until we actually create the toolpath preview, we might need to go back in and just make a few adjustments. So we'll just go ahead and calculate that. Okay, love it. Okay, so that's looking pretty nice. So you can see we've got some nice roses there. We've got that leaf in, kind of arty vibe about it. So now we're just going to run a profile toolpath to cut the tray out of the material. And then we're pretty much ready to then bung all those toolpaths onto our CNC. Right then, so we're going to select that outer vector, and we're going to use the profile toolpath. So we're going to cut all the way through our material. So we're going to do a Z equals, but I'm actually just going to add in another digit. So we're going to go 3/4 of an inch down, so it's going to overcut ever so slightly, so hopefully it'll cut all the way through our material. We're using a 1/4 inch end mill. We're going on the outside of those vectors. We're going to look at adding tabs. So tabs are like little pieces of material that's going to hold our tray to the rest of the material so it just doesn't fly out. And so we can set the length and the thickness for those tabs. So we'll just go with a length of, say, 3 3/8 of an inch, so 375, and then a thickness we'll just go with 0.15 in there, and we'll edit our tabs. Okay, so it's automatically took us into our 2D view so that we can then go ahead and add those tabs in. So we're just going to put in 4 in this instance. We're going to add those tabs, love the positions of those, and we'll just close out. Whilst I'm actually here, I'm actually going to node edit mode, and we're going to take that vector, and I just want to see where my start point is. So my start point is up here. I actually want my start point to be over here, so I'm going to press P on that node, and the reason for that is I want to kind of cut in on the left hand side, so we can then look at adding in a ramp and a lead. So we cut in on the outer surface of our material, and it would lead into the actual cut. So we're just keeping that tool away from the finished edge. It's also really good for the wear and tear of the tool as well. And so in which case we're going to add a ramp. We're going to have a nice smooth ramp. We're going to add a lead in, so we're going to go with a nice circular lead. Go with a lead length of, let's say, 1/2 inch in there. We're going to do lead out, and we're going to go back to the ramp tab where we're going to ramp in on the lead as well. Right then, so I'm happy with that, so we'll just go ahead and call that profile, and then we'll go ahead and press calculate. Right then, there is an N in my start depth. I don't know how that got there. I obviously must have pressed N at some point, but our start depth is going to be at 0, and then we could go ahead and press calculate. We've got no invalid formula messages now, and software just thrown up a message just to say we are going to cut through our material into our spool board. That's right, that's what I've told it to do. So we'll go ahead and press OK, and then we'll go ahead and preview that toolpath. We can see that lead and that ramp there. We've got our tabs, everything's in place, and we are pretty much ready to get this going. So I'm going to go and save out these toolpaths now, and then we're going to get the machine set up and we'll start cutting. Right, and so there we have it. It's looking pretty cool, and it just goes to show that, you know, only an hour ago we're taking photos, bringing it into the software, designed the file on the fly, and machined it in half an hour, and we've got a finished product. We've got nice vcarving, sketch carving, looking pretty nice. I'm going to think about how I'm going to finish that, probably just apply some kind of stain to that, but it's kind of got me thinking about all of the other things and applications that we can use with this toolpath. So I'm thinking perhaps we look at some 3D models, perhaps some freebies from Design and Make, and see if we can use any of them with the sketch carving toolpath, as well as looking at different materials as well. So perhaps looking at acrylics and two-tone materials as well to really get that contrast. Right, and so we're on the Design and Make store. I found a really nice, cute project in the Magical Garden. It's a freebie, so if you're interested in doing this, head over to designandmake.com and you can get all of these models for free. And it's super cute. We're going to look at cutting 2 little doors. Now, the beauty of the sketch carving toolpath is that we can take a 3D model, but then we can apply a sketch carving toolpath to it. So that means we don't have to do a 3D toolpath, and yet we should hopefully get all of the detail of the model just through the 2.5D sketch carving toolpath, so we can still get the look and feel of these little magical doors. And then we'll cut them out, perhaps put them on the bottom of some trees or bottom of the skirt, and so it looks like a little mouse's door. But yeah, we're going to go have fun with that. We're going to import it into the software, and then we'll kind of just quickly take a look at what we need to do in terms of the sketch carving toolpath from there. Okay, so in your sketch carving toolpath, So I've already created the file. You're going to hit the 3D model option, and what it's going to do, it's going to take your 3D model and it's going to do exactly what it did for your bitmap, where it's going to kind of find the different contrasts in the model. And then again, in the 2D view, we can see the glowing green where it's going to create that based on your line thickness. So we're just going to leave that there around 52. We're going to use that same VBit tool again, and then we're just going to hit calculate. And then when we come to preview this, we can take a look to see what that looks like. We'll just reset that, and we're just going to preview all of those toolpaths. And you can see it looks pretty good. Looks very much like the model itself, except we're not doing a 3D toolpath, we're actually doing a 2.5D toolpath, so it's going to be a lot quicker for us. So I'm just going to set up this material now, and we'll just get that going and have some fun with it. So there we have it. So just to recap, we have created a free project for you. So this is the project, it's the Mother's Day dish, and you'd seen how easy it was for us to just take a photo of those flowers, bring it into the software, apply a sketch carving toolpath, which is brand new to version 12, super playful toolpath, and we were able to kind of sketch carve the roses into this Mother's Day dish, and you can get this project yourself from your Vinco account. Not only that, we've also looked at how we can, apply this toolpath to other things. So for example, we looked at cutting into acrylic using a stock image where you can make cool lights, LED signs, that sort of thing. We've also looked at how we can use 3D models. So over on the Design and Make store, there's a whole selection of free models, and you can cut one of these with the 3D model part of the sketch carving toolpath to create really cool things that's actually a lot quicker than cutting 3D parts themselves, and you can see they look super cool. Not only that, you can also think about your materials that you're cutting into. So thinking about the contrast, so looking at the black valcromat painted white and how you can instantly just quickly throw an image on that, cut it out, and you've got a piece of artwork. And I totally encourage you to try this toolpath. It's super playful, super powerful. I absolutely love it, and I hope you do too. So if you haven't tried version 12 yet, go ahead and download the free trial and check it out for yourself. So if you like this video, give us a thumbs up, and if you've not yet subscribed to our channel, then hit that subscribe button to get instant updates on the latest videos that we'll be releasing. Thank you for watching, and happy making.